it going for your next comedian, James Myers!
I want me to rub some. Feel like I had to rub some.
Hi everyone, my name is James Myers. I'm part of the sandwich generation. If you don't know what the sandwich generation is, it means I'm looking after my mother on one side and my kids on the other side. I'm the guy in the middle. I'm the filling, the meat, the peanut butter and jam, or maybe I'm just a plain old piece of cheese. Now my kids are at the tail end of it because they're almost adults, and eventually I'm going to switch roles and I'm going to be the piece of bread, and they're going to look after me in my old age. My kids they're going to outshine me, and that's great. That's what you want as a parent. My daughter is a civil engineer. My son is getting his master's degree in international politics. Me, I'm just a dumb schmuck. I don't have a degree. My mother wanted me to be a doctor, but I'm just not a very nice person, so that wasn't going to work out. They both look like me, which I'm glad of that. They both have brown hair, brown eyes. My son's about an inch taller than me. And when we go out in public and people see them together with me, they think, oh, how did this dummy produce these two smart kids? So at least they know my wife wasn't cheating. At least not that day. I think she just left the room. My daughter is pretty low maintenance. She's pretty tough. When she needs us, she'll call us. She doesn't need any help about anything. She's pretty tough. When she gets kicked off a horse, she'll just get back on after she tunes the horse up a little bit. So she's never broken any bones, just maybe a couple toes. She's got a few good-sized bruises, though. One day we're at a baseball tournament in Markham with my son, and she is at a horse event somewhere north of Barrie, and we get a phone call. Amanda's been taken to the hospital. All right, so we better go check it out, see what's going on. So we get up to the hospital. Turns out she just passed out because she wasn't drinking enough water during the day. She was dehydrated. So the doctor comes in and he starts asking her questions. Do you have a history of fainting? Are you on any medication? Are you on birth control? Birth control? Who's asking about birth control? What kind of idiot doctor asks a 16-year-old girl in front of her father if she's on birth control? So I just did what any good husband would do in that situation. Walked out of the room and let my wife deal with it. Now, my son, he was a handful. He was always causing trouble. And he liked to ask the tough questions about sex and babies and stuff like that. So one day we're in the truck and he starts asking about where babies come from, sex and all that kind of stuff. And me, I turn the radio up. I don't want to hear this stuff. My wife reaches over. She turns the radio down. She's going to talk about all this stuff and tell him all the details. So she's giving him all the details about where babies come from. Light bulb goes off in his head. So that means you and Dad have had sex at least twice. Yeah, that's it, twice. 25 years of marriage, twice. If I wanted it a third time, I had to have a third kid. No, I wasn't going to have a third kid. So when he was in elementary school, I was the first point of contact in case of emergencies. Now, emergencies involving Justin weren't about him getting hurt. It was about him getting in trouble, usually for running his mouth. It got to the point where phone would ring, I'd look at it, see the school phone number, and I would just ignore it. They could call my wife and she could deal with it. So one day I get a phone call from her. She says, Justin's in trouble. Oh, he's yelling out penis in class. Oh, great. So then next thing I know, I get a text message from him. It says, can you get my snowboard sharpened? I want to go snowboarding with Johnny tonight. I said, no, you're not going snowboarding. Were you yelling out penis in class? He said, yeah. What's wrong with that? It's like an appendage. It's like an arm. So I said, well, yell arm and see how that goes over. So he was grounded. We took away his phone and his tablet, and he didn't end up going snowboarding that night. So that night we ended up going shopping to Costco. We get into Costco. I'm like, it's just an appendage, is it? So I start yelling out, penis, penis, in Costco. And people are looking, who's this weirdo? So we can call the cops? And my son's going, what are you yelling penis for? Stop doing that, stop doing that. I said, what's wrong? It's just an appendage, isn't it? He got the point. Hey, I'm James Myers.